Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast, now with the Digitant family of podcasts. How's it going, guys? Hope you're having a wonderful week. What's going on? So lots of stuff happening at Wrap Your Head Around Silks. Check the show notes. Always free mini course. If you want to check out my teaching style, Roll It Out, which is our live virtual 60-minute class that happens 2 times a week. You get to see me in person on Zoom and a bunch of other resources for you guys. All right, guys, today we have Dani Mermott. She is actually somebody that I know. I see her every week at Roll It Out. She is a mama and an aerialist in Florida. She's got 4 kiddos, and she's gone through a divorce, which was particularly tough, and aerial is what she found in its absence, in that gap there, and she has flourished and thrived in her aerial practice and as a person, all of it, and I'm so grateful to know her in my life. She's just a joy. And I'm an inspiration, and especially to those 4 kids of hers that she devotes her time to. All right, my friends, let's get started. All right, so I know Dani pretty well now because I see her every week. She is one of my Roll It Out students, and we meet every Sunday evening, and we torture ourselves together. And it's a joy.
Yes, it is a joy.
Dani is an aerialist. She's a mama of 3. And
actually 4.
4? Why did I think 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Because one of mine refuses to have her picture posted ever, but she exists.
Okay, so yeah, so after many months of like me working with Dani and Roll It Out, I was like, wait, why aren't you on the podcast? Like, that's what my thought was. I was like, oh, hello. So, Dani, if you will introduce yourself, where you're from, a little bit about your family, a little bit about your aerial practice. Then I'll just jump in.
Okay. So I'm Dani. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida area. I've been an aerialist for a little over 4 years now, and I have 4 children. I got into aerial. It's kind of a sad story, but it has a happy ending. When I was 33, my husband, had a sudden change of heart, decided to move out very unexpectedly, threw my entire world into darkness and chaos. It was a very dark time. But in my solitude, I started, using Instagram more, scrolling away the numbness. And it just so happened that my favorite band had gone on tour, and I was like, oh, I should follow them on a whim. Started seeing posts where they had aerialists on their tour, and immediately I was like, oh, what is this? At first I was like, oh, that's so cool for people who can do that. And then I was reading one of those self-help books that's like, what would you do if you could do anything, if you could be anything? And the answer that came to me was, I want to be one of those pretty sparkly girls spinning around to music. And then I went and started taking classes a few months later and fell in love immediately. And now it's one of the biggest parts of my life, one of the biggest joys of my life.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm doing this because I didn't know any of this. So who is the artist of that tour?
The artist is Devachka. They play in Los Angeles sometimes. If you ever get the chance, you should go see them. They're amazing.
What kind of music is that?
It is so hard to describe. I mean, it's an indie band.
Okay.
It's rock, but it has all these elements from different types of sounds and different cultures. It's very emotional, very beautiful. It's so hard to describe, but that was like the music that got me through the darkest times, was that, like, on constant rotation. And then it just so happened that that's where I discovered what became my passion. It was all fated,
Okay. And then all 4 of your kids are with your ex-husband?
No, they're with me.
No,
they're with me like
biologically
of the time.
Biologically.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
I met him when we were very young. Like we had a big family, we had a life plan, and then he changed the plan, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I went through divorce too, but it was very different because it was a very short marriage. But no matter what, it's so devastating when it happens.
Yeah, it absolutely was. It still is sometimes, but
Okay.
we're taking it day by day.
So you guys just co-parent?
Yeah, the children are with me about 99% of the time. He has a business and he provides for us really well, and he comes and spends time with them every week. He's been great about making sure I can always make it to aerial class and other things. So,
Okay.
it's a pretty good situation considering the circumstances. But the story does have a happy ending because my aerial practice has brought me so much healing, and it's truly what helped me become the person that I am now. In my marriage, and also, as the mother of 4 very young children, I was quiet, I was accommodating, always putting everyone else's needs and desires ahead of my own. I wasn't even in touch with my own desires because my entire world revolved around making sure everyone else around me was always taken care of. And in the aftermath of our separation, I was so broken. My future felt so empty and bleak and hopeless, like there was nothing there for me. But the spark of inspiration I found after I discovered that being an aerialist was actually an option for me, it was something I could do. This new dream of being strong and graceful and performing on stage really did save me. It gave me something big and positive to pour my love and energy into. It was like I'd given myself permission to want something. It felt so big when I realized that even as an adult, I could want to be a star on stage, like I did when I was 5 years old. And when I started Silk's classes, it was the first time in my entire adult life, at age 33, where I suddenly felt like I was allowed to exist just as myself, not as a mother, not as a wife or a girlfriend or a friend. I stepped into this new world that I didn't associate with my marriage or any of my memories. It was an entirely new circle of people to meet and connect with, and it really did change the game for me. So, even though it came about through such a sad turn of events, I do believe that the timing and the way this all played out was fate. And whenever I get sad, I remind myself that if things had gone any other way, I might not have discovered aerial. And it's even less likely that I would have started carving out the time away from my family to go pursue this without that redirection from the universe. And it's so important to me now. I can't imagine my life without being an aerialist. Or I guess if I imagine it, it sounds pretty awful.
Okay, let's talk about these kiddos. Now, you did not have an aerial experience during the pregnancies and stuff because you found it after. But is there anything
Yes.
that stands out of your prenatal and postpartum times with all 4 of those kids that was particularly rough or particularly amazing?
I was lucky. My pregnancies were not too bad, but the healing after, especially after my second child, was very difficult. He was a 10-pound, 7-ounce baby, and I am 5'1" and very small. So after he was born, I had a lot of putting back together to do. And I didn't know very much about the way all the muscles connect inside. So I went back to the same exercises I did pre-baby. And then also my husband at the time, he got into like doing a lot of kettlebell stuff similar to CrossFit. And he was doing it at home, having great results. So I started doing the same. I cleaned up my diet, everything. All my muscles through my back, my shoulders, my legs looked amazing, but my stomach still looked pregnant. So I ended up having to do a lot of reconstructive work here just to be strong enough to exercise again, period. I found a program that was called Mutu System. It's by a woman in London. I forget her name, but it was excellent. It was like at-home exercises. And then after I did that, I recovered real easily from my second two babies, or after him.
So that program, was it a lot of diaphragmatic breathing type of stuff?
Yes, everything involved breathing. And it started with exercises that seemed so simple, they barely feel like exercises, and then just, moved you up through the tiers.
Wow, 4 kids. Every time I think my other my other co-host for Greener Grass, she's got 4 kids too. I'm just like, oh my God, because I feel like my body is not the same from one, and I cannot imagine like that exponentially.
I also struggled severely with body image since my teens. I was severely anorexic by the time I was 16, and it was a struggle well into my 20s until I was pregnant with my first baby and breastfeeding after that. But I never fully dropped the toxic relationship that I had with my own body and the way that I saw it. And I had a moment of absolute joy one day about a year or so into my aerial practice when I realized that I was no longer picking my body apart when I saw it in the mirror in the way that I used to, or looking at photos and bemoaning where I looked fat in that one. I didn't really look fat, of course, but I saw myself that way very unfairly. And while I don't think that part of me will ever necessarily heal completely, I feel like becoming an aerialist and shifting my focus onto what my body can do, becoming more flexible, getting the splits, becoming as strong as we need to be to do what we do up there, has had such an incredible positive effect on the way that I see myself and the way that I see my body. And, even though giving birth and breastfeeding a baby are some of the most magical, incredible things that our bodies can do, we can create an entire human and sustain their life. But the way that those changes look on the outside was difficult for me, as I'm sure it is for most, if not all of us, in some way or another. So being able to shift the focus onto something my body could do, but also something that had a byproduct of making my body look great after going through 4 pregnancies and 2 miscarriages, it was absolutely profound. And I'm so thankful for that healing.
You started your practice like 4 years ago? And
yeah, beginning of 2019.
What was that process like at the beginning? Like, what was challenging about it?
Oh my gosh, everything was challenging about it in the beginning. I started with silks. For some reason, that was the one that just stuck in my head. Like, this is where I need to begin. It's still my favorite. I say it was love at first climb because it was my very first class. I didn't want it to end. But it was hard because I had no dance background, no gymnastics, no nothing. So the grace did not come easily. That took a very long time. The orientation in the air, when you forget your left and your right because you're upside down. I feel like I just took so long to pick up how to put together sequences. Once I got it, but it took easily like close to a year to even feel like I sort of had it. Muscles I didn't even know I had hurt at the end. But now I feel like I'm in much better shape than before I had kids. It's just been such an incredible full body experience.
Yeah, that I call it 3D dyslexia when you're in the air and you can't and you lose your ability to figure out like which arm is what, which foot is what.
Yes, all of that.
I mean, I was teaching yesterday and I was teaching something and I would say right hand and the student would like twice in a row be like left hand. I'm like, "No. Right hand. No, your other right."
Yes.
And it's so real. It's so real for students and it's been such a long time since I have felt that, but that is such a reality for beginners, the upper body strength. Like whenever a new person comes in and they either have like rock climbing, like indoor bouldering type of thing, gymnastics or dance, like you can see the other people in the room. They're like, "Ugh, you're obnoxious."
Yes.
Because it just means that they're not starting at ground zero. But when you are starting I didn't even start at ground zero because I'm a dancer first. So the strength was really hard, really, really hard for me. So how long did it take you to like do something like an inversion?
I actually got the inversions pretty quickly. For some reason, I guess luck, my whole life I'll build muscle in my shoulders and my back. Even when I was like teeny tiny anorexic teenager, I still had muscles somehow or another through this part of my body. So I think I just brute forced my way into inversions with this much more than the full body strength, honestly. But the rest of it caught up.
I love it. Okay, tell me about the aero community there where you live.
Oh, it's been wonderful. I've been so lucky. It's basically a group of hippies. It's St. Petersburg is probably the most liberal part of Florida that there is. It's
and you're like St. Petersburg is where like everybody goes to vacation that doesn't go to Miami or Orlando, right? Okay.
Yes. It's right on the Gulf Coast. It's beautiful. There are drawbacks to living in Florida for sure, but
hurricanes being the most.
So bad.
Right. Hurricanes being the most, right?
Yeah. They can be. We have had to evacuate a couple times, or I guess really only once, but.
So yeah, okay. So you're in St. Petersburg. What's the studio that you train at?
I've been training at the Movement Sanctuary. They're undergoing a little transformation period right now, change of ownership, change of location. So right now I've been at Aerial Dragons in Tampa.
Okay.
Both of them are great. They're different environments, different styles, but I love that. Any chance I get to train somewhere new is exciting. I feel like it's good for your whole practice. But Movement Sanctuary has been my home for the last 4 years, and everyone there has just been so kind, so welcoming. It's not competitive. It's just like a family,
Oh my goodness, I love that. There's a bunch of professionals in Florida because of all of the work, right? Orlando, what does it feel like? Is there gigs?
There are, but the people I know here who are professionals tends to end up doing gigs for a lot of the same people over and over.
Okay.
This particular area is still pretty small. So I've known people who traveled to Miami for gigs or traveled to Orlando. But the people I know who are full-time professionals are not finding as much work here as they would like to be.
Okay.
Though there is work.
Yeah, I know there's a big acrobat community because of Disney. And Universal.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like a mini industry over there, kind of.
Yeah. There is a lot of acro, like a lot.
Yeah. What's that vibe? Is it like beach acro?
Yeah, Yeah, actually, a lot of them get together and learn on the beach and, just teach each other more so than go to classes, as I've noticed. I've never really got into it. I've been to one class. I've
Okay.
just been focusing on aerial, but there's a lot of people that are just completely hooked on acro.
Okay, so your family, how old are you? What ages are your kids?
All right, so my oldest is 13,
Okay.
and then 10, 8, and 6, almost 7.
Okay, in the stages that you're at, what is the most challenging with them right now?
Well, with my oldest, just teenage hormones. And she's a very particular individual. So when she doesn't want to do something or doesn't like something, she's very vocal about it.
Okay.
The younger ones, it's mostly just getting them enough attention. I always feel like I'm not giving each kid enough individual attention.
Okay.
And we also do virtual school at home. So that takes up a lot of our time together, which is great. We love it. But it makes fitting everything in a challenge for sure. And I don't get to train as often as I would love to either, because I have to make sure that they are all settled and have their needs met before I can leave most of the time.
So you're with them 24/7 because if they're not going to a physical school outside,
Yes.
and you're a single mom, I guess
Yeah.
that would be the correct term. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it does. It feels accurate to me. I mean, we're still married. We're still partners in a way, but we've been separated since 2018. So
Okay.
it's accurate.
Okay. So single mom of 4, virtual school at home. Wow. I think that puts you into sainthood slightly.
Maybe. People always tell me I have a lot of patience, and I would say that's probably pretty accurate too, even though it doesn't always feel like that on my end.
Yeah, it must be accurate. People say that of me too because, I think it takes a lot more patience to deal with multiple children than just one. But I do have a toddler. I feel like I'm very patient, but I feel like I'm patient because I'm a beginner silks teacher, not because I'm a mom.
That probably helps. Yes, no, that makes a lot of sense though. You have to be patient, I'm sure, to teach beginning silks because it's hard and everyone is practically like a child in the air when it comes to following the directions.
They are a child. I call them my aerial babies. They come in as infants or runaway, strays, like rescues. I call them rescues sometimes.
Yes. I mean, that feels accurate too.
Yeah, it feels accurate. So I think that patience of like, oh, I really don't understand this, like for the millionth time. Whatever, footlock, how to climb, all that stuff. But yeah, so you should be indoctrinated into sainthood soon for being that. What's your practice look like? Are you able to get to the aerial studio like more than once a week?
Yeah, while Movement Sanctuary was open, my general routine was to go to class once a week and then as many nights as I could go train late at night, because I had the freedom to just come in whenever. It was wonderful.
Oh,
my oldest daughter
nice.
can babysit. Yeah, so I just put the little kids to bed and go train until midnight or whenever. It's fantastic.
God, that's like dreamy.
It was. It really was. And when they reopen, I'm sure I'll be back to it. But for now, it's a little harder. But we'll get back there.
Because Tampa is like an hour away?
With traffic, like 45 minutes.
Okay.
But it's traffic and you have to drive over a bridge and it's rush hour and all that. And they don't have the same amount of open training that I'm used to either.
Oh, yeah. Well, no one does. That's
hours.
like having your own rig almost. Type of freedom.
Yes.
Okay, so to wrap up, Dani, if you have any, now that I know that, I didn't realize you're a single mom in a way. If you have any advice for the women out there who are single moms, who have kids, who are doing aerial and trying to do it all and be all of it and give all the attention to their kids, what might that be?
Well, I would say to definitely not put it off. Don't procrastinate deciding to take the leap and do it. I'm thankful that I started when I did. I was 33 when I started. And if I had just, waited another year or continued to wait, my body's not getting any younger. So I feel like I'm glad I started when I did, even though my children were still so little at the time, and it was more difficult to build that in. But if you feel called to do it, if there's something about aerial or, any circus practice that's calling to you to do it, then, it makes me a better mom to have something for me that fills my heart up. And I feel like it's good for my kids to see me doing something that exists outside of the mom universe. I'm an actual person. And it's been better for my friendships. It's been better for everything in my life. So I would suggest you carve out the time to do it, even if it is only one class a week or once every other week. Once you start, I feel like if you love it, you will find a way or a reason or a motivation to keep fitting it in more.
I just interviewed one of my students, Karina, who is my student, but older and wiser than me. And she was telling me as a mom, she's like, you got to schedule it. Do the me time, whatever that means. And for many of you guys, it's coming to that aerial class. And for me, it's not exactly that, because I show up to get paid and to provide a service for you guys. But I joked around yesterday in class that it's like, I asked my ladies and they're like, it's my one class a week. It's my time. It's my 90 minutes for just me. A couple of them are like that and they have kids at home. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so much pressure. Like, it's so much pressure for me. I was like, not pressure to give you guys good aerial class, but to like make it magical. And they're like, no, you don't have to make it magical. I was like, and now I have to feel like I have to make it magical. But I think no matter what, regardless of the music I pick, regardless of my mood, I think it's magical just because you're in the air and because you're with your community. So, but yeah, I was like, oh my God.
No, it's true though. I would get this feeling almost like an altered state, usually halfway through class, and I would look around and be like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm doing this. I love it. I have such amazing people around me." And it didn't matter what we were working on. It was just the experience of being there. So it's magical just because you're there.
I hope that's true. Dani, thank you so much for carving out the time. This is a nice little episode. We can talk about. I love getting the perspective of all these women all across the world, different parts of the United States. Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you for carving out the time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dani is in her car, and when we're on Zoom, and I was like, oh, did you go somewhere? She's like, no, I'm in my driveway. Just trying to get a quiet moment.
The only place that's quiet.
That is the most mom thing that you did today on this podcast, is sit in your car and do a podcast. So,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So enjoy your day. And, I'll see you in a week or two. Dani, I'm so happy to know you and to share your story. And I'm just so excited to see what comes in your life, the surprises that might happen. So, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you carving out the time. I know you're super busy. And for my listeners, check out the website. I've got a bunch of stuff, and then I have a bunch of stuff cooking too. So I'll let you guys know when I can announce that stuff. Please honor me with a 5-star rating and a review. It really helps the algorithm shit, you guys. Like, this whole digital media thing is such a head F. And I mean, it's great because we can reach each other, but the whole marketing side of it is crazy. So if you would just spread the word to your friends, if you have anybody you think would be great for the podcast, or yourself, please reach out at CarrieWe1 on Instagram. It's the easiest way. Just DM me. I'm on that thing every single minute of the day, it seems like. And I appreciate you for being here. Thanks, guys. And What else? Digital Podcasts, the group that I am a part of, Health and Wellness Group. Lots of podcasts there to check out. The link is there in the show notes. And then Greener Grass, the podcast I do with Kelly McVeigh. We do a check-in with each other, we just have a girls' time, and it's great. We talk about parenting and everything that comes up in our lives, and have great stories from amazing people on there. All right, my friends, over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is Expecting Aerialist.